Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. You gotta love it when Jimmy Kimmel, the face of LA, I guess, sponsors a bowl game that's also sponsored. Washington State, Fresno State. I didn't know much about this game, but yeah, when I asked what games do you want to talk about, this was one of them you circled.
Yep.
And it presents you a lot of opportunities to make money on this one. But coming into it, you haven't heard Washington State's name a lot. You haven't heard Fresno State's name a lot this season.
No, and this number has moved quite a bit. It actually opened up at like Washington State as like a 3-point favorite. And it's moved a lot, and it's not really one of those that's moved a lot because a bunch of guys aren't playing. I think the number just shifted quite a bit because Fresno State has been very good down the stretch of this season. So what happened to them this year, their quarterback Haener, who is an absolute stud. He's one of those like awesome college quarterbacks that will run through a brick wall for you and like everybody, he can like rally the troops. So he got hurt early in the year and they started 1-4. And when he got hurt, he was supposed to be out for 10 to 12 weeks. He came back in 5 weeks. And since then, they've been awesome. They've won 8 straight games. They've gone 6-2 against the spread since he's returned. And they've won their games by an average of 18.9 points per game. They beat Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game as a 3-point underdog. And this is actually a team who's played both USC and Oregon this year. So they've played Pac-12 competition and some of the best Pac-12 competition. And on the Washington State side, you know, they got beat up by Washington in their final game. They are losing their defensive coordinator who's going to Arizona State. So that could impact their defense for a Fresno State team that already can score. And the way I'm looking at playing this game is the over. I think both teams are going to score on each other. And now knowing that Washington State's defensive coordinator is gone, the head coach has to control the defense. He's going to have a lot of balls in his court there. And then Fresno State, they could become the first team ever in the history of college football to win 10 games after starting 1-4, because you very rarely get a chance to win 10 games because they got the extra game in the conference championship and now they're going to get the bowl game. Most of the time when you start 1-4, you're not in your conference championship and you're probably not going to make a bowl game. So they could be the first ever 10-win team there. I'm going to go over. I think both teams can score, and I miss the number. Like if you like Fresno State, you could have got it at like plus money, and now you're laying 4. I don't know if I can get behind that much of a switch value-wise, you know?
It's especially because when the lines switch like that, we saw it a lot with the Vikings-Lions game this last weekend where everyone's like, Vegas thinks the Lions are better than the Vikings. But the line opened Vikings favored.
Yeah.
Or like very close. So it wasn't necessarily vague. And in this case, people might be looking, whoa, Fresno State, the Washington State, this Pac-12 team's getting disrespected. Kind of, but Vegas also thought Washington State was good or better than Fresno. It's just now all the money has poured in on Fresno. And I normally like picking against the public, Joe Public. I don't necessarily like riding with them. But 85% of the public's on Fresno. And I think Fresno at -4 is still the play.
I agree. I wouldn't, because my line initially would have been closer to this where I would have said it.
Yeah.
So I'm not on the Washington State side. And anyway,
but you just are bummed that you missed out on Fresno.
And I missed all that number, and I'm hoping that maybe the better way to capitalize on it is to play the over, because I still think Fresno State can score. And Fresno State's defense isn't very good.
Neither one of these defenses are good. They're both slightly above average offensively and average to slightly below average defensively. So the over at 52.5 is a fantastic play.
And then we always think about little like motivation too. Like a team like Fresno State is really excited to play in a spot like this, and like beating a Pac-12 team, even a Washington, that's a big deal for them.
Yeah.